Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I'm just sitting here in my robe drinking my morning coffee looking sexy as hell as usual. And for those of you who say I don't look sexy as hell when I do these videos in my robe, nobody cares what you think. I didn't ask you shit. Now, I had a bunch of people bring up a point, and this is kind of a scary point to me that people are actually still talking about this in 2014 when I mentioned that the protein powder that I bought has soy protein isolate in it, and people are talking about, oh, doesn't that lower testosterone? Doesn't it raise estrogens? Guys, that is really, really outdated. This is stuff that we have found years ago that we determined isn't actually true. Some of this was based upon earlier studies. I remember one done back in about 2001, and it was quite a hit in the training world, is because they fed people a bunch of soy men, and they fed them a bunch of steak, and they had a control group, and the guys who ate the steak, their testosterone went up a little bit, and the guys who ate the soy, their testosterone went down. Now, this was all transient, meaning these were fluctuations that happened like 2 hours after they ate the meal, and then I think everything returned to baseline later that day. But the study made a big deal, and it spread this rumor further, but the study wasn't replicatable. If I recall, when people tried to go back and test it again at a different university, they couldn't get the same results. And to my knowledge, the current meta-analysis out there that I have seen and the current conclusions that I'm aware of, and I'm not going to link that stuff, guys. I'm not sitting here reading it. I haven't read this stuff in over a year. So if you want to find it, there's this thing called Google. Type in words to get the meta-analysis. Just search for it. I'm not going to do your work for you. Don't be lazy. But the conclusion is that soy intake doesn't seem to have any effect, positive or negative, on testosterone. And those phytoestrogens that people are worried about, you guys are like, oh no, I'm going to get gyno from eating soy. Actually, when they've been studied in men, they have SERM-like effects. SERMs are what bodybuilders take to get rid of their bitch tits. And these have very, very mild SERM-like properties, which means that they're selective estrogen receptor modulators. Which means that certain tissues in the body, they very, very mildly bind to the estrogen receptor and activate it. And in other tissues, they turn it off. And one of the places they seem to activate it is the liver. That's a good thing. Estrogen has a positive effect on your liver. It actually affects your cholesterol positively. But you've got to remember, this is very, very mild. And it doesn't seem to activate the estrogen in fat tissue or breast tissue as far as they can tell. There's been no cases, documented cases of studies of this activating estrogen receptors in your breast tissue. And you've got to remember, again, this is a phytoestrogen. It's very, very mild. It doesn't have the effects that a drug does on any of these things. It is just very, very mild, and it shouldn't be a concern. It's just not going to negatively affect your health. It's not going to negatively affect your gains. It's not going to negatively affect your hormone levels. This is a bit of a myth that was based upon some early science looking at it, inconclusive stuff, and the bodybuilding world ran with this and tried to draw their own conclusions. Well, it's been studied further later, and these conclusions that people are drawing simply aren't true. Alright guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.